Mr. Speaker, do you agree with Governor Pritzker that you want federal law enforcement to work with local law enforcement to get rid of criminal illegal aliens?
Let me begin by answering that question with telling you I don't believe anyone is an illegal alien. That's a terrible term to use about anyone.
It's a legal term.
It's not a legal term. They used to call black people slaves legally, and it was wrong. Let's stop dehumanizing people. Let's start treating people right. Language matters. Let's treat people with respect and humanity. And I agree with Governor Pritzker that we should fight like hell to protect people's constitutional rights and their due process rights. Next question.
Okay. Next question. Do you believe or do you agree with Governor Pritzker that local law enforcement should work with federal law enforcement on immigration issues?
I believe, as the original sponsor of the Trust Act in 2017, which was passed by this august body and signed by a Republican governor, that law enforcement should follow the Trust Act.
Let me remind you, of course, that this body did pass the Trust Act. And if this body had tweaked that law or would change that, the federal government would not be in Illinois to enforce it, because our local law enforcement would be able to enforce the laws that are on the books in the way directed by this body. Instead, we have chosen not to enforce the federal laws. To the bill.
To the bill.
We are a nation of laws. And I want to remind you how we got where we are. We passed a Trust Act not allowing our local law enforcement to work with federal law enforcement to remove dangerous criminals from our country who have come here against federal law. Our last president left the borders wide open, ignoring federal law, allowing people to cross our borders against federal law. If we wouldn't have had those two actions, we would not be in the situation we are in today. There is a legal process to become a citizen of the greatest nation on earth, the freest nation on earth. I have multiple friends who have gone through that process. I went and sat at the old state capitol and watched the joy in so many people's faces after they went through the legal process and became American citizens, something I think many of us take for granted. I think there is a way for us to come together to enforce laws humanely by aiding the federal government in enforcing not only our laws, but the laws that are passed by the federal government. I encourage everyone to think about this. Encouraging people to ignore our laws is not the way to go about this, because we are hindering those very same individuals' ability to eventually become citizens. And yes, I agree, they could be the greatest citizens that this nation has ever seen, but they might never have the opportunity because they have ignored our laws in the process of coming here. Other nations have chosen to send some of the worst of the worst. I am not saying that everyone who has come here illegally is a bad person. I don't believe that. But we have laws and we have process. And if anybody should believe in following the laws that are passed by a governmental body, it should be the very people that are right here. I encourage you to think about this. I encourage you to work with the federal government to remove dangerous people who have come here against our nation's laws. Please vote no.